tell me a little bit like what this modern day wife name means.
Originally, when I came up with the concept of the name, I wasn't a wife either, which is funny. I just was at this time in my life where I was in a serious relationship. I'm now married to that person, but I was transitioning out of working corporate and working for myself. And I was trying to figure out, okay, how do you balance dating or being with someone, making money, cleaning the house, having a social network, paying the bills. Like as we get older, there's so many more responsibilities. So it was just this interesting discovery for myself. I thought, okay, well, what about the modern day wife, right? This woman who is aspirational and she wants to have check all these different hats, right? Mom, wife, go-getter, everything you can think of that a woman does. And I thought the name was just super bold. And so I think when it comes to the community, you can be married, you can be dating, you can be divorced, it doesn't matter, right? But obviously, it doesn't mean you have to be one. Maybe you have been one, maybe you want to be one, maybe you don't want to be one, but you're okay with the fact that you understand that there is a husband and a wife title that creates something at the end of the day that does help society.
Welcome to the Heart of Show Business. I am your host, Alexia Melocchi. I believe in great storytelling and that every successful artist has a deep desire to express something from the heart to create a ripple effect in our society. Hello to all my beautiful audience of the Heart of Show Business. As you know, my podcast is not just about show business, it's also about heart. And these two ladies that are my special guests today actually embody that. Everything that they do in their business model, which is fabulous, and I'm proud to be a podcast sponsor for them, is done with heart. With me, I have the CEOs and co-founders of the Modern Day Wife, Megan Ayers and Megan Fialkoff. I always spell it
No,
wrong,
don't worry.
but it's
I
okay.
explained my last name to someone recently. It's a violet in Russian, so it's Fialkoff.
I love that. And people love them because they're so in sync. I mean, look at them. They got even matching jackets and they didn't even plan it. And they're called Megan and Megan for a reason. Like everybody knows them as Megan and Megan. And they're so fantastic when they're putting up their event. It's like they're reading each other's mind. They even dance to the same songs. They're just like too adorable, but they're also super smart business women. I mean, their event, and we'll ask them about it, but I think first of all, I love that they constantly pivot but yet they manage to always stay on brand, because what they do is they know how to put together lifestyle, brand, inspiration, community, kind of like all packaged into one, which is why they were featured as some of LA's most influential women on LA Style magazine, and they've been featured, and one of them is now doing beauty pageants, and I mean they got it going on. So welcome to my show, ladies.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having us.
It's so great to have you. So, I mean, obviously, I want to know how the two of you came together, because, you're in Canada, you're in LA. Like, how did this happen? Or at least you're from Canada, I think.
You're right. Yeah, I am. I was like,
How did this
I
happen?
wanted to be America, but unfortunately, no. I was born in Canada. But I tell Megan, I'm like, I'm getting that green card. I'm gonna figure it out. So, yeah, but nope, Canadian.
And you both come from, branding and consulting and obviously high level management. How did you find one another?
Yeah, well, it's actually an interesting story that we've had the chance to talk about quite a bit lately, but it was during COVID. So, Modern Day Wife originated, I started it in Vancouver, Canada. The first event was in December of 2019. It was a soft launch influencer party. So it was a brunch for 25 different influencers to get some hype going about what is Modern Day Wife, because it was brand new at the time. But it was really quite interesting and fascinating to look back on that moment, because a lot of the things that we do today were happening at that event in 2019. So there were influencers, there was a brunch, there were panels, there was a mini fashion show. So it was basically modern day wife, but just not as expansive, because obviously when Megan and I got together, we were able to really blow it up, which is fascinating. So then COVID hit in 2020. There was another launch party in Vancouver in February of 2020. And then obviously it was COVID. So I ended up doing some digital events with Chelsea Burwash, who is actually now our director of sponsors. So it's kind of fun how she's still remained in the community. Her and I were doing some digital events together. And then one of them was for, I don't know if you know Elena Cardone.
Of course,
Of course,
Oh,
yeah.
of course, we come from the same world in him. But yes, yes, yeah.
Got what you're putting down, totally. Love her. So at the time, she had just launched her book, if you remember, that
Yes.
was How to Build an Empire. And it was actually quite focused on family and relationships. And I was doing this fun program at my church, and I wanted to promote more of that type of viewpoint. And so I said to her, I was like, hey, can we do a mini virtual event? All the money can go to charity. I don't want to make anything. What charity do you want to do? And I listed a few, and then she said Drug Free World, and I was like, okay, great.
Oh.
I love that let's do it. And so then I went on Instagram and I'm like, all right, who's running the Americas chapter? And I sent a DM, me kind of naively, like, hey, can I give you money? But I didn't know, like, maybe this person doesn't want to work with me. Like, maybe they think Modern Day Wife is silly and they don't want that as a connection. I don't know, right? The considerations that we have are funny, but I sent a message out over Instagram, and it was Megan who answered. And she said, of course, like, let's partner. So we had Drug Free World logo on all the graphics. It was really fun. There were affiliates promoting that event. I think there was about 60 or so people who came to this amusing online webinar. Like, actually, when I think about who paid to have tickets to watch Elena Cardone, and I interviewed her with another girlfriend at the time named Elena Hegard, and it was amazing. And then Megan and I did an Instagram live, and she can pick up on the rest of the story here, but that's kind of how that part went for us meeting, and then she can share what happened next.
Ooh, love that. See, they stand for something already. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, we both actually, it's funny you say that, Megan, because it is true. We have had some nonprofits that we've worked with who they have like minimum donations, which is a little odd. So that's a weird feeling. So yeah, we didn't, this is we're, I think what it really comes down to is we're both pretty go flow, meaning, you talk to some people and it's so sticky and they have to decide all these things. And it's like, I don't have time to work with people. I really can't work with people like that. We're both very like, okay, we're going to do this. And then we do it, right? It's very fast. But essentially, I'm from New York, and I ran that nonprofit, the New York chapter, with my dad from 2006 to 2015 full time. But then when I moved to LA, because I had gotten engaged, I had to take a bit of a different role. So I was fundraising for a while from 2015 to 2020. But in 2019, I got pregnant, and then it was COVID. So I didn't want to travel when I was pregnant, number one. And number two was I didn't know realistically how was I going to be a mom if I was traveling nights and weekends. So I was really concerned about what the plan was. I didn't feel the plan I had in place was workable. And so thank God Megan and I both pulled in each other. Obviously, we must have both had an idea at some point earlier. I mean, I know I did. I was looking for a business partner, and I think Megan more or less has expressed that she would have a partner if it was the right fit. So I just knew I had some sort of knowingness when I did the live with her that this was the person I was looking for. And I decided not to hold back and have considerations about I was 7 months pregnant, and would she like me, and do I know what I'm doing, and all the things. I put it aside, and we had a phone call, and we partnered, and we launched it in the US. And so that's how we met.
I love it. It's kind of like, you know what? It's a little bit like when people say, well, I'm going to go on a date and I got to go on like 20 dates to make sure that these people are right. And then they do that and then they get married and it's a disaster. And then there's people who just go on one date and just go, F it, we're just going to get engaged and get married and just go for it. And then they end up being married for the longest time because it's just spontaneous. Like I said, it's just like a knowingness. And you're just like, whatever, we'll just jump in and see what happens. And I love because what you girls do is like you put up like a defined upscale events with substance and you'll
Love
bring
that.
into
I
right
know
Writing that down.
upscale events with substance, which
substance.
is
I was like, damn, that sounds good.
it's me downloading. Yes, and it's just I love it because you literally put together, I mean, you have a magazine, you have now a podcast like me where you're bringing in together, you have celebrities coming to your events, so people can learn from, obviously like the best on, tips for success and everything. I mean, you do it all. You have a vault where people can access the product. And by the way, I have to say, because, and this goes to the testimony of sponsorships that do work. I love your gift bags when I come, and you didn't pay me to say that, but there's a lot of products that are in those gift bags that I actually try, and then I ended up buying them by myself. Like there was this mascara. Oh my God, I don't even remember the thing, but I just love it. It makes my lashes beautiful. And like I still buy it. I still go on Amazon and look for it. So there is
Oh, wow.
it does work, like it does work. There is about like some soaps, about things that I've continued to take on and do. So I always say to people, like people who are wanting to sponsor, obviously it takes a long time to build a relationship with your client base, but you never know who's gonna come into those things and try something and become like a loyal customers. And you girls are the conduit to that. So I'm all for that. Like honestly, you bring great people. And again, they didn't pay me to say that. It's just like I can have to say a testimonial. It's true. It does work. So
Wait,
what?
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
we really appreciate that. It is true. The thing is that we don't know who we're going to meet at our own events. I'll tell you an example. Last few weeks ago in our event in Miami, we had already known because Miami was not our territory. We knew who the big shot was down there putting on events. And we knew about this for a while now because we research areas. And we found out after the fact that they attended our event, their president and their events coordinator, and they emailed us after the event wanting to work with us. So same thing, like we didn't know that, and that's a huge opportunity for us. So it is true, like you don't there's also another component of this, and just to give takeaways to the readers, but it's like Megan and I decided to do podcasts this week, and even though on the podcast we're not talking to a potential partner or a potential sponsor, but we're having live communication. And sometimes just getting out there and having live communication with other people, you pull in the thing you want from.
yes,
So we've been doing all these podcasts, and this wasn't even the reason we're doing it, but every single podcast, after the podcast, one of our salespeople has some huge win. And it almost doesn't make sense. It's not logical, but it's like when you're out there at an event and you're having live communication or you're calling people and you're not just using the phone or the email, things
yes,
happen. So you do need to have presence. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I
yeah.
love that.
No, I love that you created the podcast and it feels like such a natural thing. And, and your magazine looks fabulous as well. It's very slick. It's very stylish. I love that you're featuring products every month where people can just sort of like get them and everything, And honestly, we are living such a world of such oversaturation, like nobody knows where to look anymore. I mean, we're all guilty of our like endless Instagram scrolling and all of those things, which is always very helpful. I tend to go to niche places. So if I want to discover something new or whatever, I will listen not to the podcast that everybody listens. I will go into something that I'm going to discover. I'm like, oh, I just discovered a little gem, and the same thing with your events. I mean, there's so many events that I could put out there, but you're always great at organizing them. You have always a great mix of people, and actually, I want to know the modern day wife title because at the beginning, I was like, oh, it's not for me. I'm not married, or I used to be, but I'm not anymore. So why go to modern day wives? So tell me a little bit like what this modern day wife name means truly.
Nice. It's so funny that you said that because I remember Megan and I we wrote a section. I think we still have it maybe on the ticket page where it says like questions or
Oh yeah,
common
it is
questions,
there.
and it's like you don't have to be a wife. But originally when I came up with the concept of the name, I wasn't a wife either, which is funny, right? I just was at this time in my life where I was in a serious relationship. I'm now married to that person, but I was transitioning out of working corporate and working for myself. And I was trying to figure out, okay, how do you balance dating or being with someone, making money, cleaning the house, having a social network, paying the bills? Like as we get older, there's so many more responsibilities, right? Our parents stop taking care of us. They're kind of, you're on your own. And I was, I guess, in my mid to late 20s at that point. Probably, I think it was, must have been, I don't know. Anyway, somewhere around there, late 20s. So it was just this interesting discovery for myself. And I thought, okay, well, what about the modern day wife, right? This woman who is aspirational and she wants to check all these different hats, right? Mom, wife, go-getter, business, fit, whatever, everything you can think of that a woman does. And I thought the name was just super bold. So I'm like, people are going to love it or they're not going to like it. And I wanted to be a wife. That was a goal of mine. And that's why I named the business that. It was an aspiration. So I think when it comes to the community, you can be married, you can be dating, you can be divorced. It doesn't matter, right? But obviously, there is that underlying foundation of, well, you do obviously support the idea of being a wife, or else, it's hard to connect, but it doesn't mean you have to be one. Maybe you have been one, maybe you want to be one, maybe you don't want to be one, but you're okay with the fact that you understand that there is a husband and a wife title that creates something at the end of the day that does help society. I mean, the reality is the only reason why we all exist are because two people decided to get together and make a child, married or not, right? So there has to be something to be said about that, with labels or without. So that's kind of where it came from. But that's funny that you thought that because we get it a lot, but people like it. It's kind of like the Martha Stewart. This is what we're the new Martha Stewart.
I love it. It's catchy for sure. And I love
Yeah.
that then you get surprised that it's not what you think it is, right? Because
Right.
you're like, wow, there's some powerhouse ladies here. There's CEOs, there is moms,
Yeah.
there is authors, there's celebrities, there is, solopreneur. And you know what? I always say there's a friend of mine who's a life coach and everything, and she went into this whole movement of women marrying themselves. So I'm like, well, you can be your own wife, of yourself and marrying yourself. But of course, that doesn't work too well for a long time. You do want to have a life partner. I'm all for that. And again, you can find all kinds of partners. You can find your best friend. You can find, a business partner there. You can be the best version of yourself so that you can manifest and attract a partner. And this MDW actually is great, like in your little
Yeah.
sparkly things and the themes. So what's coming up? I know we have a big event coming up in LA, which I just found out you're doing only one of them this year. So everybody better check out, get your tickets and come and attend. But you have this event. What is Soirée en Blanc, and what else is coming up for you ladies this year?
Well, it's exciting this one because this is like a legacy event. It means like we do it every year and it becomes iconic in that city. So, Soirée en Blanc is a French themed event. I am so not saying it in a chic French way. I know it's in French, it's a Soirée en Blanc. I don't
Soirée en Blanc. Oui, Soirée en Blanc.
yeah. So it means party in white. So what that means is everyone dresses in white for this event, and it marks the beginning of summer. And our partner is the Sofitel, and the Sofitel is a French hotel. So, and excitingly for this event, they will just have finished a renovation, and the colors of the event, the hotel is totally transforming from walking in, and it's was dark black marble to much more open and light colors. So we'll be one of the first events there. And it is a French themed event. And so there are some really exciting experiences and photo ops along the lines of this French theme. We're going much more all out this year in that regard. This event, we pretty much take over the hotel. Like we've said in the past, it's almost like the modern day wife cruise boat. Because if you think about a cruise boat, it's like you have this map of all the levels, and this level's the entertainment. This one's the 24-hour pizza place. This is the tubes. It's all these like a whole agenda, right? So same thing with this event. There's a rooftop 75-person sit-down lunch that is only for 75 people that buy that ticket. It's hosted by LA Social Moms and NFL Wives. And then they get photos on the helipad. Then there's a separate VIP pre-party that's on the first floor bar and lounge, which is a brand new space. And then all of the booths and brand experiences and shopping are on the second floor in one ballroom. And then another ballroom, we have signature panels at our events on beauty and wellness, fashion and lifestyle, business and entrepreneurship, celebrity panel. And then we have a fireside chat with Millionaire Mamas with their CEO, Lisa Easton. And then Jan Marini is doing a whole new revamp of their line to more environmentally conscious packaging and various things, new colors. And it's now called Marini Skin Solutions. And they will have a fireside chat to also unveil their new line. And then, of course, the finale of the event is our show-stopping fashion show. We have a new segment in it where one brand will be moderated, where the looks will be moderated as the models walk out. It's a slower show. Then we'll have a break for entertainment, and then we'll have our typical regular type of fashion show. So this event, there's 1,000 people. For anyone who's interested in sponsoring, we now have a media room where media are there to interview the sponsors and partners. And it's our biggest event of the year. So people should come. You can live in LA or not live in LA and come. And that's the overall agenda.
I love it. And you have always like really fabulous women that you interview. And I see a lot of people stay there for all the time, like, because it's several hours, but there's so much to do beyond looking, obviously, for all the stuff that you can buy or you can check out or follow on IG and get inspired and then do photos if you're an influencer and everything. And so, yeah, highly recommend it. I love it. I'm still picking out my white outfit. We'll see what it's going to be, but so look forward to coming. And then I know you have something coming up in Toronto, right? And in Scottsdale.
So we have Femme Fall. That's the name of the event, the Femme Fall. It's Monday, September 8th at the Pearl Hotel and Spa in Burlington, Ontario. And then we have a What She Said event at the W Scottsdale, November 21st. That's our 4th year doing that. It's going to be a 2-day event. One day will be a fashion show on the wet deck, which is the pool. And then the next day will be the panels and pop-ups. So that's going to be a big one. And who knows, we might do more. We basically are going to have our magazine launch in the fall. I guess we'll use this podcast to announce it because this has not been made public yet. We weren't going to announce it till after Sofitel. It's going to be a 40 under 40 edition.
Ooh, I love that.
So we may have our launch party in Scottsdale. We haven't decided yet. It depends on our cover girl.
That's a perk. That's definitely a perk for our cover girl if she says yes. So we'll see.
Yeah,
I
so
love
that's
it.
really fun. So yeah, that's the scoop.
That's so great. And I know that you have also a lot of online classes right now, where you're recording some of your inspirational life coaches and CEOs and whatever that are giving a little bit of the tips of success. And I guess that's available through the membership. Is that correct? Like if you sign up to be a member on the site, is that something that you get access to?
Yeah, they're all on demand.
Okay.
They're on the back page. So members can go on the back page. They can get on demand courses, videos, and workbooks. That is that. We are going to be doing our website. It will be brand new also in a few weeks. So Megan, I don't know if you want to tease that at all or.
Sure. I mean, we were talking about this the other day that we haven't redone our website since I think 2020. So it doesn't really speak to the current caliber of what we're doing. But it's interesting, right? In business, you start somewhere. And I think it's better to start somewhere than not start at all. That's my opinion. I think a lot of people think that they need to spend thousands of dollars. I mean, that was not the case in the beginning, and look where we grew to. So we're very excited to have a newly interfaced website that's very on brand, very sexy, chic, beautiful, feminine. So that'll launch right before Sofitel. So definitely in end of June, July, we'll be promoting it. It'll be amazing. So we're really looking forward to it. And I think it just speaks to more of where we're going and what we're doing. So I know that Megan and I can't wait to show everyone because, it's something we're very proud of.
Love it. And then I had the feeling that was coming because I went to look you up and I was looking at your bios and they weren't there. And it says, oops, page not found. And I'm like, something is going on. So yeah, so I knew that there was something that potentially
Yes.
could be happening. So in closing, because as you know, my podcast is always about inspiring people to be a better version of themselves, even if they're not creatives. It could be solopreneur, they could be women, navigating in a male, very competitive male world. If I'm going to ask you a two-part question to both of you, which I always ask all my guests, so you can give it a minute, but one of them is how you define yourself in 3 words. And the second one, if there is like a little life mantra, I know Megan, you already touched upon one of them, but if you have a life mantra of what you kind of use to get yourself out of a dark hole, right? So anything that sort of like snaps your energy and gets you back into a higher vibration, higher thing. If there's anything you tell yourself, anything you read, any quote, any song you dance to, it could be anything. It's like open season here for you to say whatever comes into your mind. So I'd love to get that from both of you before we end off our little podcast.
Cute. Okay, I can do. Okay, I make me to remember the first question, but the second one I have because I just told someone yesterday. I always play the Legally Blonde. It's the perfect day. You know the song from.
I don't know what that is.
It's like it's the perfect day. You don't want me to
Oh,
sing, but you know
I
that
love
song.
that.
Nothing can get in my way. Like those are the lyrics. So if something is going wrong, I like to play it. I also played that every morning during pageant week just as like a fun little tidbit when I was competing because it's just kind of like a fun song that you're like, I'm not going to listen to whatever else is going on exterior to my life, but in my world, it's a perfect day. I also find if I get in a slump, I just take action. And usually that happens because I have too many things going on. So then what I do is I take out my phone or I actually like pen and paper old school and I literally compartmentalize all my tasks. I put modern day wife, whatever other business things I have, my home, my relationship, whatever it is, and I write out every single task. Because usually when I'm not doing well or I get stuck, it's because I have too many things at once and I don't know where to go. And then that gets like a little bit crazy in my universe. So then if I do that, I just look at it. And then from there, I usually highlight or pick the things that are top priority. Meaning, if they didn't get done today or tomorrow, would that be a problem for me or someone else? Because I'm never going to finish everything. I've already come to realize that. So that's how I roll. What was the other question?
Oh, how you define yourself in 3 words.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Um, probably feminine, I feel like is one, bubbly and like a get it done type of attitude. Like I don't wait for anyone or anything. I'm like, let's just go, just get it done. So
I
yeah.
love that. I love that. Actually, if I had to define you, like that's exactly how I would I
Great.
would have said. You're
Great.
always bubbly, you're always super girly girl and you are unstoppable. So that's kind of like how I see you. So
Aw.
go, you see yourself how other people see you. Megan, it's your turn.
oh God. I think I'm a little different.
But
I there's this song in this Lin Miranda cartoon movie called Vivo, and there's this actual song, and it's so crazy. If you watch the music video, it's nuts. But she's like, "I bounce to the beat of my own drum. I
I love that.
it's so nuts. I'm a little, yeah. I don't know. I haven't really met anyone like myself this lifetime. I definitely basically experience life and things to a very deep level. So everything I experience is very passionate for me. So whether it's a relationship or a friendship or travel or my work or really anything I do, I'm pretty passionate, and I'm become pretty I don't do things if I'm not going to do it all out. So it's hard for me almost with working out, right? I've had to sort of accept that I don't have a lot of time to work out, because normally I'm the type of person like, if I can't work out every day, then I'm not going to start because I can't do it every, you know what I mean? So I've had to just kind of chill out on that. So I would say there's that. Like, I'm pretty passionate. Like, I love music. I love theater. I love iconic people in history that I become obsessed with. Um, I love Billy Joel. I love Madonna. I've loved everything that I've loved in my life. I really love. If I love a restaurant, I really love it. I mean, I think I explained it enough. Um, that would be one. Um, I don't know. I think it's like the main thing for me. I think I like to I don't know. This is hard for me. I guess like I'm a little bit like I like a little bit of everything. I like having a life with a lot of action, but I also like to take some time off and have a normal life. I like to be married, but I like to be able to date other men. I'm divorced now, so don't worry. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to get remarried right away. And then sometimes I'm like, but I'm having so much fun not being married, so I don't know. I kind of like a little bit of everything. It's hard. I change my mind a lot about what I want. So right now I'm just letting myself do that. I don't feel like I need to decide. And I care a lot about the planet we live on. So that's something that I think about a lot, whether it's like animals or the environment or, my son and I
Free world, obviously.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's just one. Like, I really ran like 4 other nonprofits in New York, but I don't really talk about it because it would seem kind of unreal. But I just there's so much. My biggest like upset, I think, with the world right now is that celebrities not investing in humanitarian work, and when they become successful and rich, they just start creating more lines to make money off of. And I'm like, when is the money enough?
Yeah.
You
Yes.
now start promoting, like, why isn't J-Lo ever switch her platform to like, I've made enough money. I'm going to India for 6 months to build 50 schools with my money.
Yes.
Beyonce.
Stop human trafficking from all the
Yeah.
little Latino kids that are being trapped. Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's my biggest disagreement with our society, is that like enough, there's got to be a point when it's enough money and enough about me and my looks. So I would just say that for me, I don't I also like adopted a certain thing when I was doing nonprofit work in my 20s, where sort of when people acknowledge things, I usually say, yeah, like, we're doing a great job, or we're doing this, or someone's like, well, what are you doing with drug free? I'll say, well, we're doing blah. I don't usually say, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and these are my accomplishments. I'm more about other people winning too, because I feel that like it makes me uncomfortable if I'm doing really well, but other people aren't doing well.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
important to me that like I acknowledge other people and have a group that I feel like we're all working together. So I think those are the main things for me. Sorry, those are not 3 words like what
Oh,
you asked.
I,
But
I love it though, because it's very inspirational. And I gotta say, as we were talking about that, I just had this download, the AppSumo guy, Noah Keegan, his name, I think. Anyway, he's became a multimillionaire over with creating this platform that is called AppSumo, where you can try this different app and these different technologies. And he wrote a book and saying, I think it's the billion dollar weekend, or yeah, $1 billion weekend. And it's all about stop being so hard on yourself, and
Mm.
and like I said, when you're having lists or whatever, look at your failure as experiments. We're constantly experimenting. We're constantly, if we look at something that's like, oh, that was a fun experiment, like, hey, I tried this and it kind of failed epically, or maybe it wasn't the right time or whatever. It's an experiment, people. This is a way for you to just like get the formula and mix it in a different way, and maybe the next time it will stick. And I think if celebrities, like you said, and even us, we looked at how can we experiment into making the world a better place? What are the things that we can do to constantly find ways to bring communities together, like you're doing the Modern Day Wife, and creating meaningful conversations and, enhancing brands? I think if we all did that, like you said, instead of me, and many people are into the me phase, and because of social media, which is not a bad thing. We all want to have attention. We all kind of like inherently do, but how can we use those attention units to sort of like then kind of snowball and bring change, right? And I think that's what you girls are doing. You're, like I said, you seem to be constantly pivoting while staying on brand. And I think that would be probably the perfect title to this podcast, because that's what you both are, how to pivot while staying on brand. And this is exactly you doing, because you're not pivoting like completely doing something different. You're just opening it up to very.
I think also we're discovering more about our brand as we're living our lives.
Yes.
We have this new thing that we put in our media kit this year in regards to like seasons of life, right? And then even like it's in there, it's like basically women want to do it all, and perhaps you can, perhaps you can't, but maybe you shift in the things you're doing. And then I was even thinking about that even more recently when I was doing this course that I'm doing on regarding, well, there's seasons of life, and it's celebrating all the things we get to do as a woman. So I think we have to stay on brand also, because it is what makes us unique. And sorry, I know we're going really long, but like, we don't want to become what all the other women's groups are doing, because it's not what we stand for. And we also don't want to become another women's business group. That isn't what we're meant to be doing only. We have that pillar, but we also have like Modern Day Mama series, which is just about motherhood. And we have women who come who are just stay-at-home moms. So we kind of want to embrace all of that, as opposed to what's mostly out there, which is just the business hat of a woman. So I think at the core of everything, even though we sort of change, well, we're gonna do fashion, we're gonna do beauty and all of this, I think we both have the agreement that, well, it has to stay though true to that. This is about women and the different hats, and also embracing all those hats. Whereas I don't know if society embraces all of those hats. So, okay.
Ooh, a lot of mic drop moments here, ladies. And I'm just so lovely that you went over, because when the conversations are interesting and stimulating, I don't like having like a time frame on myself. So I'm glad that we were able to chat, and I look forward to seeing you at the event. And if you want to check out a little bit, obviously wait a couple of weeks, maybe, because maybe by the time the episode drops, you'll be able to check out this brand new website and how it became a 2.0, 3.0 version, and get your tickets for Soirée and Blanc, because I'll drop them in the stories and in the description, and follow this incredible ladies, and let's see what they cook up next. I know I'll be watching. So thank you for coming on my show.
Thank you
so much.
It's been great having you. And to anybody, please like, subscribe, review, share. That's what we live for. I don't get sponsors, so I do it just because I love it. So please make sure that you follow this lady, and you continue to follow me. I'm not going to say no. Okay. Thank you.